how's it going? You know me as Meta. Today we're nah. Hey, how's it going? You know me as Meta. Today we're playing some Scourge Bringer. Studup's getting off work. Kick back and relax. I got a lot to say. We're gonna dive straight into it. Totally not a lot of stream happened before this that I'm cutting out. Let's move on. All right, back on the streaming screen. Yeah, so Scourge Bringer is a game I've loved for a while now. You see, I've already played a little bit of it. Is there a way I can redo? I can reset. Hang on. I'm not sure. Game capture. What's wrong with you? Scourge. There we go. It would appear we're still having some technical difficulties. That shouldn't take too long to sort out, though. All right, back to the game. I'm not seeing methods of resetting progress, unfortunately. All right, that's something the devs might work on. But let's just dive right into the game. This is a roguelite that I kind of wish got more attention than it did. It got a little bit for a while there, but it never reached the heights of like Dead Cells or Isaac, even though I think it absolutely deserves to. Like, if you're just looking at this game right now, it's gorgeous. The graphical style of this game is unique. It's really like very smooth animations, which you don't see often with these pixelated games. Usually they kind of lean into the shoppiness, since a lot of them are trying to capture retro aesthetics. There's a down, but there it is. It's control. No, shift. Shift is down. You see, I'm sucking. Not down. It's the dash towards. Oh yeah, we're streaming now. And I can finally say with a little bit more confidence that on Saturday's stream there will be a special guest. Special guest joining. If you know, not your friend YT. We made plans, and if all goes right, he should be popping up on stream on Saturday, so that should be great. I love his videos. Ever since I found his one about, I think the first one I watched was about Nintendo and like taking shit down, like their DMCA's. And I've been watching him ever since, so keep it up with his new content. If you somehow find this, either stream or when it's uploaded to YouTube, and don't know about him, frankly, how did you get here? But yeah, we've talked a bit. He might be appearing soon. Again, plan is Saturday, but you know, plans might change. We're both adults. We got busy lives. You can see I suck at this game much like I do at any other game. Yeah, if all goes according to plan, that should make for a fun stream. Oh, you're finally awake. If you're having difficulties, know that a good smash on incoming projectiles will break them out. Good smash. Let me. Controls. Map. Right stick. Game set. Up, down. Pause the dash attack slash. Yeah. Jump. Smash. Alright. E. I smash E. And change dash to Q. Block movement. How do you want to block movement button? I'm sure that serves some purpose. I'm just not understanding. But I never really got the point of block movement buttons in games. No, this guy. Psst, you hear right? Have you ever talked to Carlo? You work with him. Good. I'm Peppy. I can see you need help. Here, take this. No, I don't want your blood. You shouldn't give it away. Blood is more than power. Take care. Yeah, Garo. Pretty cool one. Oh, right. I've been punching. You're not supposed to do that. So we'll take the SMG. And take the Crystal Heart. I think Garo appears if you're doing real bad. Real consistently bad, I should say. Oh, hang on. I adjusted the controls so it would be easier for me. Then I immediately forgot how I adjusted them. Yeah, it's gonna take a while for me to build up muscle memory. This is a lot more precise of a roguelite, as you can probably tell. There's a lot more timing involved than most. I'd say this one leans kind of between like the average and harder side of rogues. Hello there. Need a new weapon? This is Zippos. It follows Master Greed's teachings, twice as clever as you are. It cracked the code, more firepower, boom. Get a weapon, survive longer. So I had a Master Greed. Nah. I've never gotten too far in this game. Like I said, I'm bad at it. But it's always been one that I've really enjoyed whenever I played it. I hope... I'm not sure how often I'm going to stream it. Definitely not as, often as Ember Knights, because I just fucking love Ember Knights. It's probably, at the moment, one of my favorite games. But definitely a game I'm going to be revisiting. Yeah, I've been playing it since, if you remember back when Game Pass Ultimate used to include like free games occasionally, or I guess that'd be live gold actually. Whenever they used to occasionally have free games, that's when I snagged Scourge Bringer for the first time because it looked cool. And you know what? I have been loving this game to death ever since. Like, let's look at how smooth these animations are for a pixelated game. Like, that's the thing about indies. Like, you get all this effort and attention to detail and beautiful, like, graphics in insanely, like, specific styles that, like, no AAA company is doing. Because, well, it is, like, on the technical side, a lot harder to do realistic graphics. Like, don't let people say, oh, they're doing realistic because it's easier. Like, they do it not only because, like, it's technologically impressive, but because on the design side of things, when you're trying to appeal to realism, it's easier to come up with characters than it is to come up with designs for a heavily stylized world. And it's a lot easier to make those characters look good and fit into their environment. Like, well, it may not be easier, again, on the technicalities. It's easier on the design. See what Dr. Peppy Hella gave you. And next time you see him, let him know I want to talk to him too. There's the Shane gun. I can't afford it anyways. I know eventually you get to start with a little bit of blood. That's the reason, like, AAAs don't pump out roguelites, too. Like, they take too much effort. Like, there's too much consolidation. There's too much having to, like, know how things fit together, how different items are going to interact. There's too much complications. And while it may be technically harder to develop an FPS game, it's a much more straightforward process. And it's easier to pump those things out year after year and reach like a minimum level of quality. Yeah, that's why the Call of Duty games come out so fast. Like, are they harder to develop? They may or may not be, like, on the technical side, but they're more straightforward than a roguelite. I'm talking a bit on my ass, but I'm just saying, like, there's a reason you got to watch the indie space and why I think roguelites are often some of the first games to experiment, because there are always risks in and of themselves. Like, a roguelite is a risk. That's why a lot of innovative games are roguelites. Like, look at Binding of Isaac. Look at Dead Cells. Look at Risk of Rain 2. Like, all of those games are pretty popular, pretty innovative in a number of ways, and they're all roguelites. Because roguelites are a gamble in and of themselves, so you may as well experiment. You may as well do something new. You may as well try stuff. I should stop staring at the game. Random drops have a 33% chance of being a higher grade, but 16% chance to turn to a perfect grade. Wait, fuck, I forget. I'm gonna run a timer. No, I want to do an emergency call. Yeah, I forgot to set a timer for 30 minutes to know when I should cut this off. Bixby. 30-minute timer. Shut up. That's the most I use Bixby, if you're curious. It sets timers. And that's it. Shut up, Bixby. The issue with talking about Bix is not saying the full name and having it turn on. I always wonder why Samsung people call it Bix sometimes. Like, it's not often you hear about it, but now I know why. No, it's funny. I was talking about with my sister-in-law. She got the new iPhone earlier. Like around, like when we went in to get our new phones. She got an iPhone. I got a Samsung. And she was trying to use Siri, and it kept failing to recognize her voice. Well, I was being there, being a little shit. Creating multiple timers consistently with Bixby. Like, I gotta say, like, he's having to set up, like, voice samples a little bit annoying for Bixby. It is a tiny bit. But I think that's part of why Bixby recognizes so clearly your voice. Because it does have that staging process of, like, teaching Bixby what your voice sounds like. Which, is important for a digital assistant that works based off of your voice. And, like, I get that Apple strives for convenience, but often that convenience comes at the cost of function, which is why I don't like Apple devices. Like, there's a fine line you need to stride between having a convenient product and having a functional product. And I think too often Apple doesn't do functional products too well. Again, unmatched in terms of convenience. I'll give them that. Like, from my limited experience with modern Apple products, they've typically been fairly easy to navigate, but they've also been fairly limited to navigate. How is the good Peppy doing? Yes, we talk sometimes. Unlike me, he can travel. Keeping an eye on someone for me. I think he's watching Greed. I think that's the lore. They can hit that? Yeah, see, that's like what I was talking about earlier. The little details in indie games. That would have been a static prop if this were a AAA release. I can tell you, because like the developers wouldn't have time to go in and add all those fun little Easter eggs because they're being so crunched horribly. But since this is an indie game that didn't really have like much pressure to release at a specific date, to my knowledge, like they have time to go in and add all the fun little things. They have time to go in and like play around with stuff no one's gonna give a shit about. Really gotta be on the spikes. Nah, fuck. Oh, right. I forgot I can run on the walls. Definitely gotta master it a little bit. Yeah, this is definitely a favorite of mine. I mean, yeah, I know I'm like kind of the roguelite guy. Oh, right. This is targeting. I have to get used to the fact that that's targeting my cursor. For so long, I was like, why the fuck do I keep dashing in this specific direction? It's like, oh, right. It's using my cursor as the reference for where to go. Oh, yeah. And this fight, if you hit bosses, like while they're prepping an attack, you can stun them. And that creates a real reward for like precision and like good timing, while also making the bosses a lot easier, especially in the early game. Maybe you can just stun the hell out of these bosses. Maybe these bosses are easier to stun. But I know like even with like the bigger bosses, if you hit them right at the right times, you can stun them. I mean, it's a free item. I guess I'll take it. Speaking in terms of objectivity, I got no real reasons not to. Agreed. Pulse laser. Cucumber, disgusting. Please make it disappear. I don't want your gross ass cucumbers. Alright. Like the way enemies are designed, like there's clearly an intentionality to how they spawn. Like they aren't just placed in the room randomly. And like it's just like mixed up enough to have like the variety. But again, there's clear intent. There's clear like there's a lot of thought put into like enemy layouts. They're related to how they function, like how the enemies behave, and like how having certain enemies mixed together would like impact the player in an average playthrough. Because I gotta consider, like, they could be coming in here with any kind of items. Like, at least in the items department, maybe Scourge Bringer isn't as heavy on the randomization. Like, I would say, generally speaking, Scourge Bringer is more affected by personal skill than like the random luck of the roll, which is always nice. Like, I feel even in a rogue in the Scourge Bringer run, like where you get literally nothing, you still have just as good odds as a Scourge Bringer run where you get a whole bunch of really good items. Which I think is a strong suit as a roguelite. It offers like, you still get the randomization, but doesn't impact the game as heavily. Ooh. I don't know why he did that. You are doomed. Cheap equipment, poor quality weapons. Greed and Zippos are they are okay-ish. But to survive here, you need the finest items. And I don't take your scrappy droplets, don't know. I need your lifespan. At every okay, so yeah, these are basically devil deals, like Binding of Isaac. Unsettling. Some bolts do 300% damage, but most will do 50%. That's the kind of stuff I like in roguelites too. Like the whole risk and reward thing. Like, you know, permanent health loss items. And, yeah, permanent health losing items. Ah, I never noticed the stat screen before. Is that new? Right up there. Above my face cam? The face cam blocking anything else? No, it's not. Yeah, I know I need to, when I'm recording video, kind of adjust my face cam based on where things are. Something I'm going to start doing. With the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, it doesn't really matter, so I just put that any old place. But I know that I'm going to have to start doing that when I record other games. And I do plan to keep recording games. It's not only a good way to get something to fill like a time slot, like for the 3 o'clock or the 11 o'clock, but it's a good way to just, you know, unwind. I find it a lot less stressful. Okay, it'll increase my max HP by 2, but decrease my max HP by 2. No, fuck it, we'll do it. Oh no, it hurts me. Oh, I thought that decreased my HP. Alright. So it's not like devil deals. Alright. So it's more like sacrifice rooms. All subsequent ultra blood for blessings gives back all the HP, all ammunition, recharges the fury. Sure. Let me see if I can take another one then. Some bullets. I think I'm gonna take consistency. I like random crits, don't get me wrong, they're a fun mechanic, but typically I prefer consistency. I prefer consistently dealing less damage and having a chance to do really high damage, if that makes sense. Like, I prefer knowing how my weapons will behave to relying on randomness. And don't get me wrong, random crits can be fun. Like, I enjoy myself the occasional rounds of TF2 like anyone else, but generally speaking, I'm not a big random crits guy. I know that might be surprising coming from a roguelite dude, but even in Warframe, like, I'm not a huge fan of crit builds. I mean, in Payday 2, I think it'd be fun too, but my main build mostly relies on body expertise. I'm kind of happy Payday 3 hasn't really gone the random crits route with any of its building. I mean, I know they kind of have with some of their builds, but generally speaking, I'm glad there's a lack of random success in Payday 3. Generally speaking, people are negative about the Payday 3. I love that game. It's my, not my favorite entry in the Payday franchise. Like, if I really reason them out on what game I'm more likely to just drop into and enjoy myself. Like, on a good day, Payday 3, like on a day where I'm feeling like real hot and just want to play a game, probably Payday 3. I'm feeling real good about myself. But if I just want to hop in and wreck some madness, I gotta say that is easier with Payday 2. And while I appreciate the fact that Payday 3 feels so dramatically different to Payday 2, don't get me wrong, that's how I think a sequel should be. It shouldn't just feel like, you know, the first game, but again. Or, like, you know, the previous game, but again, I should say. A body boulder. Do they make this guy easier? Or do I have this game on a really easy setting? Yeah, I'm taking a lot more damage than I need to. I gotta be less aggressive. Oh, fuck. Ah, shit. I shouldn't have gone at him like I did. That was real dumb of me. It's been a while since I fought Bodybolt. It's been a while since I booted up some Scourge Bringer in general. You know, go easy on me, Scourge Bringer fans, if you find this. The body boulder is terrifying, but stay calm. You want to avoid its bullet shower. You can also smash through it. Good knowledge. Good knowledge. And the upgrade tree is also nice. I like it. It's a fun mechanic. Gives one more permanent max HP. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. That's another thing I really like. I think the Binding of Isaac could use something like that. Maybe an item. Sorry, I had to be my mic because I was talking to my sister-in-law. Don't worry. Don't worry about nothing. But as I was saying, like, I actually really like Payday 3. I'll admit the launch was a little rough. It definitely suffered from launch day syndrome for a while there. No doubts about that. You won't find me saying otherwise. But overall, I really enjoyed the game since launch. I had a lot of fun with it. I genuinely think it was really good. And I think it is really good. I think the updates have been positive for the most part. Like, I've had very little to complain about with Payday 3. I think people were way too harsh on it. Like, I'll agree, like, the always online was a mistake from the beginning. They shouldn't have done that, especially given Payday 3. Payday 2 was kind of famous for just how, like, aggressively optional online was, I guess I should put it. Like, how you could play the game and have just as much fun, if not more, offline. And how it doesn't really require, at any point, like, having an online connection. Like, it was fully playable offline, even getting into an age where that was becoming more and more uncommon. And then Payday 3 comes out and just walks all that back. And to be fair, Payday 2 came out at a time where, like, always online games were not really the mainstream business. Like, they existed, you know, World of Warcraft, RuneScape. Like, don't get me wrong, those were a thing. Like, way before Payday 2. But generally speaking, they weren't, like, the mainstream. They weren't what every game was doing. And people were upset about that, and I think they were right to be. But I think that colored too many people's perception of Payday 3 to a point where they just weren't willing to give it a shot. You know? Or at least a fair shot, you know, because they went in wanting to hate on it, so they found reasons to do so. And don't get me wrong, there were criticisms, but they were so hyper-focused on finding the criticisms that they were also missing all the good things the game had, I want to say. And I think there's a lot of that. You know, there always has been, always will be in media, like, especially now, like, with Joker 2. Like, a lot of people I'm seeing were talking negative, like, oh, this movie's gonna be shit, oh, this movie's gonna be terrible. Lo and behold, those people see it, and they're like, oh, this movie is shit and it's terrible. Like, is it genuinely? Or did you go into the movie wanting it to be those things, because and then your confirmation bias led you to think it's those things? Because you were hyper-focused on finding criticisms, and not as focused on just appreciating the movie for what it is. Like, could that be factors? I think it is. I know it's not something I'm immune to. Yeah, we turned the game up a little bit. That's something I'm not immune to. Like, I've definitely been biased in my approach to media sometimes, and I've been getting better about that as I've grown up. You know, as I've reached adulthood, I've been getting better about knowing, like, I don't think I'll enjoy this, so I'm just going to avoid it. But whenever I do go into something, I go in good faith. I go in like, I want to enjoy this. I want to have fun. I hate Cyberpunk 2077. I don't like that game at all. But every time I played it, and there have been many times this has gotten updates, I've wanted to find stuff to enjoy. I've wanted to like that game. And that keeps not happening. Every time I play Cyberpunk 2077, I sincerely want to enjoy that game, if for no other reason than all the money I spend on it. And every time I've gone into it, I haven't enjoyed it. I have hated the experience. I found it really shallow and uninteresting. And I just haven't liked it. But you know what? I gave it its fair shake. And I think every piece of media deserves that. And if you don't think you can be fair approaching a piece of media, there's no point in viewing it. That's why I didn't play the recent, what's the game? I didn't play Elden Ring or its DLC. I didn't even buy those games because I'm not a big Soulsborne guy. I'm not big into those style of games. I just don't like them. Like, nothing necessarily against them. I just don't enjoy them. So I didn't play them. I know if I go in, I probably wouldn't have that good a time. They color my perception of it. And I might focus too much on the negatives because I already don't think I like it. So my brain is already kind of in the gears. Like, it's in the gears where it doesn't want to like it. You know? That's just the mode it's in. My brain's decided its thoughts on it. Detecting the presence of birth-based technology, assisting investigation to retrieve. Makes this computer that becoming useful. God, I know about it. Alright. Alright. You can pause that when it gets to YouTube. I'm not too interested in this game story. Gotta leave the health pickups on the ground till I find the boss. No, not this boss, the other boss. Like, I'm probably gonna... I haven't seen Joker 2 yet, in all of fairness, so maybe people are right and it's a whole bunch of dog shit, but the criticisms I've seen have all the hallmarks of, like, I didn't actually watch this movie with intent of liking it. I watched it because I wanted to post on Twitter that I really hated it, because that's the cool thing to be doing. Like, complaining that there's too many songs in a musical, I would say, is, like, the main one I've seen, and it's like, really? It's a musical. I don't know what you were anticipating. Like, the way they talked about it, I thought it'd be nothing but songs, honestly. Like, I thought it would just be, like, all dialogue is in music, kind of like a Les Miserables. Is that how you say it? Les Miserables? Or is it Les Miserables? Something like that. But to my knowledge, it's not. It's kind of a combination of, like, jukeboxy musical, where it's just, like, already existing songs there to communicate a time period and general mood, and, like, original works and compositions, which sounds interesting to me. Again, like, this Joker 2 is a movie I could see myself enjoying, like, based off the promotional material. I'm probably gonna play it. I was actually planning to play Shadow the Hedgehog Generations today, but I didn't have enough money in my bank account when the pre-order went through, so that's unfortunate. I'm gonna have to buy it later. So I was hoping to get the pre-order, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. I can play it later. I can play it when I get paid. But that's a game I think I'll love. I'm glad that game's getting general positive reactions. I mean, there's people bitching about Ian Flynn's writing, but there's always going to be in this fucking fandom. Even though Ian Flynn is, like, the best writer to touch it, in my opinion. Like, I guess he references things more than some people want him to, which, I mean, if you care, sure. But I don't. That's my honest opinion. I don't really give half a shit about how often a writer references media. Especially because often, like, a lot of his storylines have been kind of geared towards, like, reflecting on past events in the Sonic timeline, which isn't entirely his option. Like, Sega maintains a very tight-fisted control over the Sonic storyline nowadays. They don't want another Penn Kenders. No, they don't want another Penn Kenders on their hands, which is understandable. I think he did a lot of damage to the perception of Sonic in the mainstream sense. I can see why they'd want to avoid having another fiasco like him on their hands. Like, I'm pretty sure, isn't he still doing some bullshit? Isn't he, like, racist now? Isn't he, like, said a whole bunch of racist shit? I remember hearing about that. Maybe I'm wrong. I know he's transphobic, which is also, like, ugh. But, like, it's kind of what I expected, to be fair. He seems like a pretty shit guy. But it's still unfortunate, you know. What have you got against trans people and their decisions that don't affect your life? Like, I don't see why people care so much. Like, there's people who decide to get, like, tattoos from random video games. And, like, I don't mean, like, of, like, symbology from the games. Like, of the, like, random items. Like, isn't there a guy who got, like, some Binding of Isaac item tattooed on him? It's like, I wouldn't do it. I think that's kind of ridiculous. I'm not going to complain about that. His body, he can do whatever the hell he wants. Yeah, I'm not going to make a big stink about it. Fuck. But so many people, like, they just got to care about everyone else's business. They've got to be, like, all up complaining. And, like, why? How does it affect you? They can... Like, trans people can have whatever gender affirming surgeries they want. Like, I don't care. I got bills to pay. I got rent. Like, I got other shit to worry about than, like, what other people are doing. Maybe he gives you shit every time you don't do a thing, like with the guys. Perhaps. I'm not entirely sure how he works. Have you seen Greed? Does know about me? Oh dear. Alright, so Greed does know about you, guy. I'm sorry. So I'm assuming the old guy wants that guy to monitor greed. I already forgot his name. Apologies. Fictional character made of pixels. This is another thing. Like, there's a lot of hate going on whenever you like say things about characters made of pixels, and it's like, why? They're not real. I could call Mario a bitch. He doesn't know. He doesn't exist. Like, none of these people exist. The people say like, oh, why would you make fun of like I'm not saying like these things said to me personally. I don't exist in most people's eyes, but I see this in like comment sections of YouTubers I watch. Like, why do people get so like mad and people make fun of like the appearance of characters in the game? Like, if they're being like misogynistic about it, sure, but if they're just like goofing, like they say Mario has this dumb mustache, like, I'm getting off track. Yeah, generally speaking, it's like, I don't get why people like care so much for making everyone else's business their business. Like, you know what? I have work tonight. That's my immediate concerns. Like, that affects me much more. Like, I care more about that. Like, I got a job. Like, I don't have like the energy to be complaining about trans people. I have the energy to complain about people complaining about trans people, but that's different. All right, that's not the same. That is differences. And like other minorities, so like people who just do shit that other people gotta get obsessed with. Like the tattoos example. Every time someone posts like, I got a new tattoo, no matter what it is, you'll find like examples of people going like, oh, you shouldn't get tattoos, they're demonic. And like, what? Who cares? Like, why? Why is that so important to you? Like, I got it. What was that? Thanks. I was just running again. Like, I got tattoos I want to get, and I don't need anyone else to get in my business about it. Even my own mom. Like, I love my mom, but like, she's not in control of my body. I can get whatever tattoos I want. Some of the directions you get attacked in. Like, again, there's a lot of like impressive details put into this game. For a lot of AAA games, the attack wouldn't even like be directional like that. It'd just be one animation that changes places. But no, they have unique animations in this game for every direction you attack in. It's amazing. Like all HP, ammunition, and resources of fury. Alright. Like, I don't have the energy to get in anyone else's business about what they do with their personal life. Maybe that's just me, but like, I can't really be bothered. Honestly, I find it kind of annoying when like details about other people, like who I don't know's personal lives, end up in like my field of consciousness, I guess. Like, I find it kind of like, why is this relevant to me? Why am I hearing about this? It doesn't really sound like a me thing. So I never understood the point of shows like keeping up with the Kardashians. Like, I don't know who the Kardashians are. They're not my neighbors. They're not my friends. Why would I want to keep up with them? Like, all I know about the Kardashians is that Caitlyn Jenner ran over a man with her car, and like, I don't want to keep up with her. Yeah, I don't want to keep track of that. She sounds like a pretty horrible person. Like, why would I want this person's personal life all in my business? Like, I don't care how many Olympic medals she won. Like, knowing she won Olympic medals doesn't change the fact she ran over some guy in her car. It doesn't change the fact that her life doesn't affect mine. It affected someone else's quite horribly, but like, not mine. I don't want to hear about this person. Generally, I find it kind of upsetting. Like, again, like my friends is different, family that's different, but like random strangers, like I don't care. Like, you know, if it's a musical artist I like and they're like making good songs about it, yeah, that's one thing. That's separate. But when it's just people, like, why do I give a shit what the Kardashians are up to? Why does that matter? Who watched that show? Like, I know it was like super popular, but like, I don't understand why. I don't see the appeal of TV like that. I mean, to be fair, I don't see the appeal of TV over anything else in general. I don't really watch TV myself. But you know, you get what I'm saying. It's like, I don't get why people are so interested in shows like that, in reality TV. What would I do if I was stranded on an island? Like, I don't know, like die? These people aren't stranded on an island. Like, they can like choose to leave and like say, hey, I'm gonna get my lawyers if you don't like get me a flight back home. Like, I don't care. I don't know what they would do if they were stranded alone on an island, frankly. They have like a casting crew and production going on. They're not alone on an island. They got like hotel rooms. They got like catering services. Like, I don't give a shit. If I was stranded on an island, I would die. And I feel like if these people were really stranded on an island, they'd probably die too. Again, we can't know for certain because we haven't actually seen them stranded on any islands. But I have it on pretty good authority. Most people wouldn't survive those circumstances. At least not for any like length of time. Like, I don't know, maybe they would survive a couple of minutes. Days at most. Where's the way to the boss? Is it here? Yeah, it is. All right. My body boulder. Let's go. So focus mode on this. Hit me. Okay, I can stun this guy, can't I? Oh, that's big. Ouch. Ah, no. I mean, I really gotta get the timing down on deflecting those attacks. You're back. See, the computer is working, ready to get blogs. So go ahead and try. Alright, computer is apparently functional, it says. And it looks like it's roughly time for